and welcome to Jigsaw Shed. Now Christmas might be over, but my projects are still coming out. Now this is the last of them, I promise. And this was a light box that I made. I was inspired by one that was on the mantelpiece at my in-laws. It had deer in like a snowy forest scene, but I decided I'm going to put a nativity scene in, and I used the image that I previously designed for a glass engraving I did. But I ended up doing most of my design in Affinity Designer and then exporting it as a DXF file into Lightburn. Now, there was a few tweaks I had to make, which you can see here, and it was just to split one of the lines, as one of the lines needed to engrave, whereas the other part needed to cut. So a bit of playing around with the features of Lightburn, trying to figure out how to do it. And I think at this point I'm using my mouse pad rather than actual mouse, so it made it a little bit trickier with the zooming in and moving around. But I managed to get there eventually and go from there. Now this project was sort of following on from one of my other ones that you will see in one of the videos before. And I'm using the camera again. Now I did have knock the camera a bit, and I didn't actually recalibrate it. So there was one bit you will see in a bit as the laser starts. I have to stop it and then restart it and just adjust the layout of where the images are on the board so that they cut properly, because there was a few millimeters off and I was losing it over the edge. But otherwise it worked really well, and the camera is very handy for helping to center the piece and get the engraving started. So as I was having issues with the cut feature to get the whole star as I needed it, I ended up tracing the star out with just a line tool itself. But all of this is good practice, good experience for using Lightburn. I don't use it enough always to really get in depth with all the features, but these little bits, these little challenges does help me sort of slowly learn the project. You will see I've added a few more Christmas baubles just to make use of the whole board that I've got, and add a few more extra decorations to the tree basically. Once I've had all the images sorted, I was sorting where the cut lines were, which ones need to be cut, which ones need to be fill, and then sort of working out the power settings for each of those accordingly as well. But yeah, you will just see it all changing up there. And then that's where I set it off, and it was burning a bit wider, so I readjusted it all, as you can see, using the camera to get it all into a nicer position and then get it going. Obviously it's heavily sped up, but I think it was just over an hour or an hour and a half that it took to cut everything. And those little stars that were cut out on the edge of the big star was what was used as add-ons onto some of the other Christmas baubles that I did. So the ply I was using was meant to be 2mm ply, but it was more like 1.5, 1.6mm thick, and it cut it out really well in just one pass with the 5-watt laser. So then it was on to the assembly of the piece. Now I used 03 Adhesive's medium glue for this one, and I was using a scrap piece of wood just to square up the pieces there, but eventually I gave up on that once I had it set, because I nearly glued the scrap piece to the star itself. Now also using my 03 accelerator here, as it just made the process a lot quicker. It was really cold in the workshop despite me not wearing a jumper, but I was just working through this to get it done, and then I just went inside the house to complain about the cold. So once I had this bit all glued up, I moved onto the front of the star to put the tracing paper on that will give the backing so that it gives more of that nice light box effect. And I've used tracing paper before in a project that I've done, and it works really well for these tiny little light boxes. Really easy to do, but I did find that using just a scalpel blade after having been glued works really well at cutting it nice and clean off the lines there. And then using my Dremel glue gun, this is the craft one, this with the smaller glue sticks, and it's got 2 settings. So I used it on the higher power setting here, and just started gluing in my craft LED lights. It was quite a long cable on these, but worked really well to get a lot of light in the back of this box. Now this did take quite a long time to do, and needed to be careful not to obviously touch the glue, as it's really hot and would burn if I was to do that. And I need to wait for each bit to dry, otherwise the wire was just jumping up. The little switch on these were quite hard to actually do, but quite stiff in there, but it worked really well, lit up the box really nicely. And then just cutting off the second piece of tracing paper, because what I had were very small tracing papers and needed to do it in 2 stages on this. And then just to glue on the front, again with the O3 adhesives, and there we're done. Now this was a really quick video. I've not had much chance in the workshop, mainly because it's been really cold, so I didn't want to spend too much time in there, and therefore put the laser to a lot of use over the Christmas period. But I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, give the video a thumbs up, leave me a comment down below, and remember to subscribe to my channel.